The term is called time warp. And when you experience it, like I experienced it multiple times, whatever object, let's say this sign, when I get close to it, it says a time warp from the future. It's it will call a time dimension. So it's like time with this environment, this place is warped, or else I'm shown or felt in the future. This I couldn't get close to, or I wouldn't see it because I'm close to it. I'm not explaining well, but the year is it's December 3rd, 2025. Whoever it is, those people are, and let's say they open like a door in the future. I would be here, so it'll be like 10 years from now, and whatever is 10 years from now, I'd say like either this sign or whatever. If I get farther away, I could see it. I don't know what kind of distance. Say like 10, 20, 30 feet, I don't know. Say like maybe right here, I probably could. But as soon as I get close, it would just appear like itself, like it is in this time. That happened multiple times to me. And to give an example, what I was thinking about, I don't know when will be, but the deck, it's the front steps to where I live, my parents' house. I saw that years ago, and it was something else, like a porch. Or a deck is in the back. Porch was built actually, and I know what I was experiencing. I just didn't know what year, and I was walking in this street. I didn't get that far. I just went around the corner because I heard like a ambulance and fire trucks, even police cars. I thought it was an accident not too far from me. I don't know where I got this idea from. I think it had something to do with my father. I looked in the driveway. There was no vehicles in our driveway. By the way, right now, a couple months ago, my parents, including myself, I gave them authority. I signed off the title, which they had the title. They didn't give it to me. It's a whole thing with them. But they sold the vehicle, the black SUV. So when I was selling it, I knew like that was part of the process. And other individuals participated. Big word thrown out there, but they had, I don't know, they started communicating about it. Some said don't do it because it's like, you're not gonna change anything. Plus it's like, it's the right thing to do. I don't want the car. I don't drive. I don't want a vehicle. And there's another thing that I shouldn't go into right now. I didn't put too much money in to pay it. I think it was a little bit over 2,000, maybe 3. I thought it was like 2,500. On a 36,500 vehicle. My parents, especially my mother, she paid most of it. So it's another thing. Not that it made me feel bad, but I didn't have full ownership. I did have ownership on paper, which they didn't want to give me the paper because I don't know. I would have sold it for like $10,000, $15,000, maybe more, maybe even 20. So it's like it's a money thing, and it's like I really don't want to argue with them. Plus I had no grounds. I didn't put a lot of money in, so that's that. I did get 1,000 from it. Not that it should matter in this video. But yeah, I walked over here. It was way back, and there was no vehicles on the road. And I could see far, and there was no vehicles. Yeah, some other people just, quantum there communicating with me because you wanted this, you didn't want that. You don't make sense where you are. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I'm not gonna say my usual. Statement here. Let's talk about it in person and text because no one really does. All right, just stay out of it. Yeah, so I felt like the avenue is called St. George Avenue. It runs through a couple cities. It has lights. It's back in the day it used to be a highway. It's not that it matters, but times change and this and the other thing. I felt like my father was over there, or maybe close by. He had an accident or something. It's very odd. Or maybe something will happen. Something happened, So it's very disturbing. And there's a whole thing what people do with a time warp. It's I was angry a couple years ago, a couple months ago. I don't know. I don't know if it was I was drinking, and actually, I had a rage outburst. I don't have to define why it's because of what. I don't know if the energy I had will go in the future and something will happen either to my parents. I think it's something might be my mother, There's a lot of individuals today, they were just, telling me things like that. Actually, a couple of weeks ago, they were saying that. And it kind of shook me, like, I don't want to hurt him or her physically, you know? I'm not even like, not just suppressed my anger, I relieved a lot of it, It took me a while. I'm on my own. I was on my own. I still am, There's just too many sociopathic people that just do a lot of damage. Emotional, psychological damage to people. It's not just, the environment as a whole, United States of America, as far as infrastructure, any kind of form of infrastructure. Well, that's one of them. That's the obvious one. If you don't understand that, you need to you need to get grips on reality. They're not all that nice. But that, is part of it. So I'm doing much better, and I experienced something else when I was standing in front of my parents' house. It was like EMTs, maybe it was police officers, but they weren't there. So I'm saying, I guess they're, I don't know if they, I'm not gonna say what some of the people communicate they wanted. Like, it just doesn't it doesn't really, just messes with your fucking mind. But I don't know, maybe they were in that time frame. I just couldn't see them because up close. And I stood there. I was, I was standing, and I kind of sat or perched. I didn't perch, just lean against the post. And they were just communicating. I was a bit of a wisecrack, wise ass. I started making fun. I think one of them, so I thought you were dead. So I guess that will happen in the future. What will happen to me? Most likely, people have been saying I'll get incarcerated. I'll probably go to jail, like people said. Not too many people say prison, jail. You would think it's better, but it's pretty much, it's still pretty, not something I deserve or wanted for myself. And I knew that for years, actually. I just didn't know why, because when I had a psychiatric breakdown, the actual ones, not like not the ones I didn't have, and I went to psychiatric ward 7 times, they don't do anything for you. They get you depressed, actually, depressed, aggravated, you become thinking it's kind of helpless, especially when someone has power over you. At least power of the police force. That's really what it is. Doctor couldn't bring me in unless they were, just openly lying. Like, my blood sugar went up and I'm acting erotic. We should take you in for observation or screening. When you're right there in front of me, and I actually told you from a psychological standpoint what's going on. I mean, it's beyond fucking bogus. On video, non-video, just, it didn't go to court or trial, so it doesn't matter. And if, let's just say I took that institution like the Hospital Trinitas or RWJ Barnabas, I mean, I guess I would be free from future, confinements, right? Just myself, right? So it's pointless. I'm not going to talk how I couldn't open a case, money-wise, actually, financially. People threatened me, people told me they're gonna take your mind away, your soul away, if you try to even open up a case. And not, in the physical form, obviously. This mental quantum, like people just fucking, that's your fucking world over there, And, excuse me, don't play the victim or make fun of me. Go fuck you, stop it. You're not that sensitive, are you? Suddenly, people just fucking, they don't want to be harassed. And I experienced that, actually, the place was iVlog.tv, and you got some fucking nerve. What's that on phone that was saying? I think iVlog.tv, that I'm harassing, this one guy and this group of people. When they were harassing in so many ways, and then, that guy was a pedophile. People even suggest he might be a child, actually he molested a child. I don't even know. And then they started throwing at me, I got, playing the victim. It was just fucking unbelievable. A lot of people do that as well. That's Gothic Master over there, from Holland over there. A lot of people are just like that guy. Listen, some of you narrow-minded people, you think, I don't know, hey, let's go. I know you got something like fucking you were born with, and you just, you're not that person. Trust me, inside you are, man. You just cover with your culture, terms, and, maybe you just, you're not as skinny as him or tall. Like, that's your fucking mindset there. I see right through that. Right, I'm boring somebody. Like, I guess this is entertaining for you, right? All right, fuck out of here with that. I experienced it like someone wants to take my pants down. I guess what? I misspoke. I shouldn't have said that to you about you. What is it? We need a hug? Fucking punks with you all, man. So yeah, that was another thing that happened there. And that was the last time I experienced this time warp. The one before was on Cherry Street. You know, a little bit lower where I used to hang out with my ukulele. The convenience store, you know? But yeah, and it happened multiple times in a place of residence because that's where I lived. The one that really bothered me was time warp, and the future event was in 2020 Christmas Eve. That happened in 2020, and that was in 2005, I believe. So it was 15 years ahead, you know. And I didn't know what I saw. A person walking. I thought it was a police officer. I don't know if he had a flashlight, but there was a light shining. And like I said, there was a white, it was a white structure. A year or so later, they started putting up this white vinyl fence. When they started building, I was like, that's what I saw. Or maybe a couple years later, you know. But then it wasn't. Then it was a wooden fence. And I thought it was like, what is it, snow? It can't be. The roof for my room, because I lived in the attic, now I'm in the basement. Step down in life. You know, it was like glistening, glimmering even, you know. I thought it was like a sheet of ice if it snowed. For a while, I started asking people, like, it was October in 2005 or something. So it was like, you know, 15 years and a couple months off difference. I remember because in October 2005, the next day, my father told me to wake up and we're taking down the gazebo actually for you know, the colder days, like we did a lot of times. So yeah, just, you know, for years, 15 years, that bothered me, especially when I had psychiatric breakdowns, you know, with fear and paranoia, like something was gonna happen to me. You know, I didn't fully know myself. I didn't fully know my relatives, how they really were. I thought they were just honest, good people, you know. I thought they had the reason to, you know, be like that. You know, and I never fully, you know, they were just very rational, but I just never caught on to it. I never caught on how, you know, how they really were. So, even if I experience something like that, if something happens in my life, I mean, you know, I'm not bothered by it. I don't want it, you know, I want to do the best, you know, thing for myself and my life, but at least I know my environment now. I'm up against a lot of people like that. There's not too much I can do. You know, especially, you know, go work for people like, you know, let's say, you know, my parents, my aunt, my uncle, just an example. Sociopaths, psychopaths, degenerates, deviants. I mean, you know, of course they're not gonna like me. You know, of course I can't get a job, but it's the best I could do. So, yeah, when you get closer, or I was in my room in the attic, I could, you know, if they had a mattress on the side, I moved them around and they felt like lightless. Well, hello, little feather, you. Hello there, have a good day. I'll bring you some grains, I will. And I was like, wow, this is how it works too, because 15 years later, I didn't have the mattresses there. It's odd, because like anything that was close to me, it was like, it wasn't even there. I was actually in that time frame. The door downstairs wasn't wooden doors. It had like slots. Yeah, like early 2012 or 13 actually. No, it was oh, excuse me. Well, hello, that was close by. Hello, I needed that. That was so nice to be next to you. Very close to you. It was good. It was 2018 or 2019. My father installed that door. My Aunt Donna happened to be in that time. And she said, I just want to help my favorite nephew or something like that. Or just a good nephew. I was like, yeah, it was odd. You know, so when that got installed, I was like, wow, this is actually happening. At Christmas Eve, we were over my aunt and uncle's Stanley Nimick's house. And there was just like, it's in that video, it was one of the worst Christmases. They were beyond disrespectful. You know, my mother was walking around. Her daughter was like, oh, yeah, you're just going to hell or something. Like, what in the, like, who fucking says that? You know, and she actually, you know, she started laughing at it. Just, playing cards, drinking alcohol, and they had a mass on television. They even joked about it. Oh, yeah, sin anyway. It's like, yeah, it's very fucking wonderful of you. Yeah. And they were like, that was the evening and the day. We went there as well. My cousin Adam was like, they were instigating that I should kill myself. My uncle, they said in the video, I don't want to kill you. I want you to kill yourself. That's what they were hoping for. At least that's what they want to traumatize me. Want me to be in that state. I mean, what I was going through months is unbelievable. And then Christmas Day, he's like, hey, so what are you gonna do, Lucas? When I had that on my mind, I was like, should I take my life? He just read my mind, or he was hearing it, my thoughts. It was like, so what are you gonna do? He was talking about getting a job, and I actually mentioned it. He's like, oh, well, for Hilti, you could be like driving, delivering, like $15. I didn't like that. Like, I'm not gonna fucking do that. It's like, and then years later, his parents is like, oh yeah, come over here, get a job. It's like, I mean, I know you try to disrespect me, but I'm not that simple-minded. It doesn't work on me. Like, when I see you you look bad. You look bad. And that's something you just don't understand. You don't get it. You don't fucking get it. You just, you don't understand. Which is, kind of funny. It's just like, you're very much empty vessels, what you are. You can't really be too angry, It's just like, never knew fully those people were like that. And a lot of times, I had a memory loss, and I couldn't, figure I couldn't put it together. Multiple traumatic experiences. So, yeah, that time warp, but not the last one. But when I was in that state, it really bothered me for years, especially when I had the breakdowns, And like, it played over in my head. It could be now, it could be this, It really frustrates you, stresses you. It gets you paranoid. You can't help but to get out of it, Yeah, that's it's a disturbing thing, That's not something I partake in, something I wouldn't do to someone, even myself. I don't want that, I live in the present, and I want to shape my future, with memory of the past, as it is.